Welcome to the Camnet main news. My name is Sharon Kalimula. The top stories on our desk: indiscriminate medical waste disposal at CHILENJE Old Cemetery, ex-residents. Peter Chanda describes the implementation of the Public Order Act as fair. A Catholic priest in Eastern Province calls on electorates to open their eyes now. In international news, Ghana's private school sector hit hard by the COVID-19. And in sports news, Zambia takes on Morocco in CHAN quarterfinals, though Zambia is down by 3 goals. Join me shortly for the details.
Camnet TV is not just... 2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television. For non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage, Zambia needs Camnet television. For national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia, watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on Go TV and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Thanks for joining us. The news in detail. An anomaly where people are indiscriminately dumping medical waste at an illegal dump site in Lusaka's Old CHILENJE Cemetery of Kawata constituency has been unearthed. A check by Camnet TV news crew found medical waste materials ranging from used needles and syringes to soil dressing and diagnostic samples, among others. Speaking on behalf of the residents, Kennedy Lungu says the waste being dumped is a serious threat to humans, especially children. Meanwhile, the Lusaka City Council says it will engage the Ministry of Health and the Zambia Environmental Management Agency ZEMA to see how best the matter can be resolved. Details on this.
Poor management of healthcare waste potentially exposes healthcare workers, waste handlers, patients, and the community at large to infections. Further, it exposes them to toxic effects and injuries and risks polluting the environment. It is essential that all medical waste materials are segregated at the point of generation and appropriately treated and disposed of safely. Healthcare waste is a byproduct of healthcare, which includes sharps and non-sharps, blood, body parts, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and radioactive materials. And this is an illegal dump site by the Old CHILENJE Cemetery. Apart from dumping municipal waste, some unknown health institutions have started dumping medical waste, much to the disappointment of Kennedy Lungu, a resident of this locality.
You know, I'm complaining. I'm a senior citizen here in CHILENJE. What is happening on dump site, Kamanda Kakudala, you know, Bantu Ambakutaya, I think Mungaona Makiti, Yonse, it's health hazard. I think when we're fighting Corona, this is what is happening now, Commander. And we are to remember government, please, please, please. It's health hazard. Kitu bonan palima blood, palima syringe, palima chan, bonan marapi. Once bango tayari mamenom. Yankara ini Commander manje bantu wapeza bantu wakufa futi mkamanda mundu wa mwamene mkamanda mundu mwana stila chigololo. As a senior citizen, Kenneth Magrosa. This is what is happening in CHILENJE South, not CHILENJE, but CHILENJE South. This is what happened. It's happening. I think my own it's a health hazard.
Lusaka City Council Public Relations Manager George Sichimba has warned health institutions behind the illegal dumping of medical waste that once discovered, they will be penalized. He says the council will be engaging the Ministry of Health and the Zambia Environmental Management Agency ZEMA to get to the bottom of the matter.
We have received reports of people dumping wastes in our cemetery at CHILENJE, the old CHILENJE cemetery. And amongst the waste, there is suspected medical waste. But as you may be aware, we are not directly responsible for hazardous wastes. It should be ZEMA and Ministry of Health, because we suspect there could be private clinics around that area. So what we have done as Lusaka City Council is that we are going to engage our stakeholders, the Ministry of Health and ZEMA, so that together we can mount a joint investigations and get to the root of this problem. Hazardous waste, which includes medical waste, is dangerous. This is coming from hospitals and clinics, so you can see how contaminated this waste can be. And so there are children that are scavenging around there, so they can easily pick some of these instruments, for example syringes and needles, and take them home or start using them. So it's a very, very dangerous thing to do.
According to WHO, every year an estimated 6,000 million injections are administered worldwide, but not all needles and syringes are properly disposed of afterwards, just like is the case here. It is clear that the health institution behind this healthcare waste deliberately avoided recommended guidelines of disposing medical waste. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Lusaka District Commissioner David Silobanje has reminded the people living in flood-prone areas to take proactive measures by moving to upper areas or seek government's intervention before it is too late. Mr. Silobanje notes that some residential areas are not conducive for human habitation, hence being highly affected during the rainy season. He notes that places like Kanyama and John Lane compound are rocky and unplanned settlements, thus making it difficult to put up proper drainage systems. Mr. Silobanje has since called on the people living in flood-prone areas to be engaging his office for support, adding that the government has the responsibility to facilitate their relocation to other areas beyond Lusaka.
People, of course, yes, they have built in waterlogged areas, like Garden House, part of Mrs. compound, that is Cook, if I'm not mistaken. These people have built in drainage, I would say, an area where it's supposed to carry water, because the quality of Mrs., it's a waterlogged, because from the geological idea I have is that underneath there are stones and the water cannot easily be drained from there. So each time it rains, the water will soon be collected in those areas. So the best thing to do is to relocate. And those who want to relocate, it is the office of the district commissioners here. Come and see us and see how we can able to assist you to go to a better land. Zambia has got plenty of land for people to relocate. Life is not only in Zambia. Life is not only in Kanyama or Mrs. There are other areas where you can go there and enjoy living in Lusaka. Even if we don't give you land in Lusaka, we can give you in other districts. You still enjoy your life because you were able to do your cultivation and other things. So the only way for the people of built in these areas, of course, as government, we will not run away from this. We have to relocate them. But unfortunately, within the boundaries of Lusaka, land has been very scarce. So we have to look for where we can take these people. For instance, you're aware that those who have built along Kalingalinga stream, we are still working with the Member of Parliament and the DMMU, and local government, to see where these people can go.
An expanding gully as a result of high water current is growing threat to the residents of Rodwell compound in Solwezi district of Northwestern Province. The gully, which was originally dug as a drainage system along the road which was being constructed by Kansashi Roads, has been expanding, posing risk to nearby houses which residents fear might collapse. The residents are therefore calling on the local authority to come to their aid before the situation gets worse. Let's take a look at this.
The coming of the road brought a lot of excitement to the people of this community. But now, this is not the case for the people of Rodwell compound in Solwezi district of Northwestern Province. This road, which was constructed by Kanseshi Roads, was supposed to be accompanied by a drainage, which was not completed and has since become a gully. The gully has been expanding due to high water pressure, and some nearby houses are at the verge of collapsing. Children are now struggling to cross over, and it is evident that this may see some children losing their lives in the process of trying to cross over. The residents are calling on authorities to help them address this issue.
Mukwakwa bawamishishe burongo pano kyasenda midzire mwanzo omo keti bamubire wa ikararevo burongo akwe babika drainage kwe babika drainage babikire mwanzo omo pano te batudziku kwe na bana twamanama na ire kuba misizi kamaronga mama tukwashai bambire mbeine tusakutuma ko bantu kajina wera ko dzikwabo motoka waishire batekinga kukwe kena mwene ko kidziko ni kajina tumine phone ne namba ndinayo ya mama ba misizi kamaronga ba DC keti baishire kwitu kwashani twidijanya na nansi teba kuino mpunja kidzibyepi yetu twashamini wakonyi
lero bafa kubuteko ichimisebo chishara na ikaye ero futi abacha bari kuno tibapone na moso ini risking tule papata kubuteko batumwene ko museba kuchama
kutoloka fyo musebo meshi nga wafumoko mumeshi mamona so tulero mbako batu afirisheko.
By broadcast time, efforts to get a position from relevant authorities such as the Council and the Road Development Agency RDA and the Ministry of Infrastructure Development proved futile by broadcast time. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Civil society organizations have condemned the commercialization of politics, describing the trend as a barrier to inclusive participatory democracy in the country. Among them, the Foundation for Democratic Process, FODEP, has observed that politicians are taking advantage of the vulnerability of citizens by dishing out money to buy votes ahead of the polls in August. And the Alliance for Community Action Executive Director Laura Miti has urged citizens not to be swayed by gifts, but from leaders who will champion the progressive interest.
As Zambia holds elections on August 12, 2021, all political parties are geared and claim to form government. But that can only be determined by the electorates, who have the major say on who will govern the country. Much as it is the right of all political parties to feel confident, but the giants, based on previous elections, are the ruling Patriotic Front (PF) and the opposition United Party for National Development (UPND). However, in the build-up to the polls, the country is witnessing a number of politically motivated donations and dishing out of money towards vulnerable citizens in view of soliciting for votes. And Foundation for Democratic Process FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe has described the trend as unfortunate. He regrets that politics has become a competition of who has more money at the expense of who has the ability to better represent the people.
There are parties that have, especially the party in power, what they are doing clearly is campaigning, but they have been very crafty. One, they have identified chiefs. So they are going with brown envelopes, giving to chiefs, donating to chiefs. They have also identified churches, vulnerable churches, and they are donating in the name of helping these churches to build structures. But we know that this is clearly campaigning. Crafty in the sense that they are doing it outside the 3 months before elections. Because 3 months before elections is the period for campaigns. And whatever is done during that time, if you dish out, there's voter buying, there are donations, then that will be a cause for petitioning
And Alliance for Community Action Executive Director Lola Miti has urged citizens not to be moved by gifts, but use their vote wisely to secure their future.
We need to buy something with our vote, and right now we need to use this vote to end the lawlessness. Our next vote in Zambia is about ending lawlessness, it's about ending corruption and trying to lift the country from the bottom. Our problem is the bottom is so poor, but there's a few people up here who pretend that this is Zambia. This is not Zambia. The majority of Zambians are hungry. They've got no schools, they've got no medicine. They are so impoverished is shocking for a country as rich as this. If we as Zambians decide this has to end, at least let's stop the rot and begin to try and regain where we were. That's what this vote is about. This vote is not about individuals, it's about citizens. And citizens must use it to try and rescue Zambia from the situation in which we find ourselves.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development, UPND, Mwinilunga Member of Parliament, Newton Samakai, says Zambia needs a leader who is going to unify the country. According to Mr. Samakai, the country has been divided on political lines more than ever in the history of this country. He says even development seemed to be shared based on political lines. The MP has wondered why Northwestern Province, Mwinilunga in particular, continues to experience lack of development in all sectors of the economy. Mr. Samakai has cited the deplorable Solwezi-Mwinilunga Road as one area where government has failed to show leadership. He has questioned why government has neglected the people of Mwinilunga to the extent that they can be subjected to live without a road. Mr. Samakai said this when he made a donation of 21 bicycles to all 21 ward chairmen within Mwinilunga constituency to use for the party mobilization ahead of the 2021 general elections.
In the constituency, to ensure that Hakainde Hichilema, our president, gets the maximum vote from Mwinilunga constituency. We are therefore looking at a bigger picture. The bigger picture is to put HH into State House. Because we believe that HH is a man who is not going to divide this country. HH is a man who is going to unite this country, to bring all the 73 tribes together, to bring all the regions together, to take development to all the provinces. That is a man that Zambia needs now. That is the man that Zambia desperately needs. Because the country has been polarized. We need to change. The country has been divided. Development has only gone to few areas. Look at Mwinilunga Road. Look at the road going to Chief Kakoma. Look at the road going to Chief Kanyama. Look at the road going to Senior Chief Kanongesha, going to Chief Chibwika, going to Senior Chief Sairunga and Chief Intam. There are no roads to talk about. It is because we don't have the leadership that has the heart of the people. And this is why we want HH. Because he has seen the problems that people are going through. So I pray that the little that we are putting in the constituencies, in the wards, in the constituencies and the wards, will be able to attain milestones to ensure that we get to where we want to get to realize the bigger.
Opposition National Congress Party leader Peter Chanda has charged that the current implementation of the Public Order Act by the police is fair and in line with the provisions of the laws in this country. Speaking to Camnet TV, Pastor Chanda explains that the opposition political parties cannot compare themselves to those in the ruling party, especially the head of state, because they are not on the same level. He notes that currently the head of state and the ministers have the liberty to freely move without any interference by the police. The Public Order Act is a matter of great debate, especially among political players. Let's listen in. The Public Order Act is a contentious law that brings debate, especially among political players. Many opposition leaders accuse the law enforcement agencies, such as the police, of unfairly implementing it. Other civil society organizations have been calling on government to revise the law because, according to them, the law is archaic and favors those in government. The law, which clearly states that any organization wishing to meet in public should notify the police 7 days prior to the event, and this has not been fairly implemented, according to the stakeholders. In a surprise turn of events, Opposition National Congress Party leader Peter CHANDA says the Public Order Act is okay, accusing Zambians of missing an opportunity to refine it in Bill 10 after it collapsed.
The police is only mandated to apply the law as it is stipulated to them. We cannot compare ourselves to the ruling party as opposition political parties or as political parties that are governments in waiting. That we need to understand, and it's a fact, because that's what is entailed. The police cannot restrain the president from movements. They cannot also restrain certain people that would want to come and gather to catch a glimpse at the president. So we need to understand that the president is not our match, is not our equal, is a Republican president, separated from all of us to govern this country.
However, Pastor CHANDA says once Parliament dissolves, it will be folly for the law enforcement agencies to apply the law unfairly, urging them to apply it fairly when the time comes.
When we go towards the elections, as we saw, when the time of election is kicked on, then the police understand that they are supposed to give each political party equal space to campaign. But at this point in time, we cannot be able to claim that equal space because we are not in an election time. Until when Parliament is dissolved, then all of us are allocated the equal space. Let's look at the by-elections that we've had, even the other by-elections that we have. Political parties are allowed to campaign and hold rallies because there is a by-election in a particular area. But on the day-to-day running, like at the moment, we cannot compare ourselves to the ruling party because the Public Order Act view does not give us that space. But my call to the Zambia police going forward, as soon as Parliament is dissolved, it is important that they allow political parties and give them that space. But of course, we need to adhere to the advice that came from the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Sharon Kalimula, Camnet News. A Catholic priest of Eastern Province, Nyimba District, has called on church members not to vote for leaders who have failed to deliver their promises in their respective constituencies. Father Banda says some leaders have been tried but have failed to bring development as most feeder roads are in a deplorable state. Speaking during Mass at St. John's Catholic Church, Senior Outstation in Kakwea of Chief Nyampande area in Petaoke District of Eastern Province, Father Banda says the country needs leaders who can bring development as they promise. Father Banda says most lawmakers, once voted into office, tend to visit their constituencies when elections are near. Father Banda has further advised the electorates to be aware of fake politicians who just want to benefit at their expense. Meanwhile, aspiring candidate from Sanzala constituency, Elias Daka, popularly known as Eli Boma, has called for increased efforts in the fight against early marriages in rural areas. Mr. Daka says there is need for heightened multi-sectoral approach by all stakeholders to curb the vice.
Tinao ayakine balimboma alichinji one kalini pandawo ya mavuto basi myakine akawele masopi taluwa zatachita chikoti lombo watiletera keke pala chifuka cha keke tigulise zaka zonse izi akupaseni keke mulye lero pa zaka 5 mukamuone lini akaoneke soti pa mandale bala akawela akaleta vali navo liani tolani ni vanu vamulietole pa zaka zonse zekwimira liani soti zambweka kwa mapasi pa mtima kumbukirani ulokupwendelani pa chinji
nachinango kuti tikale vamoyo tifunika tichefyeko early marriages aika so that vana vatu tivaleke vapite ku school kuti vakachoka ku school vakaphunzire ngekutolo inchito ya local artists na vevi vakozoipitiriza takuletera nkoni mphaso ya ma blast band takuleteranko nutu kuti tizisebenzesa monga mpingo. Ndiponso china nchakuti aba local artists bazankala motivated na ntchito zamenezi, ndiye kuti utenga uja wanali nawo akatolondo suzafa because za local artists amene tabathandiza kuti iyi ntchito ya Mulungu ipite pasogolo.
The Zambia National Men's Network for Gender and Development has condemned reports stating that male politicians are soliciting for sexual favors from female aspiring candidates. Network coordinator Nelson Banda says these revelations are criminal and those who are doing so should be exposed. Mr. Banda says political parties that demean women should not be entrusted with running the affairs of this country because their conduct of abusing women is compromising the Constitution and Zambia's commitment to regional and international protocols such as the SADC and AU protocols, Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, and other instruments. He says such political parties cannot be entrusted to uphold the Constitution as they have demonstrated that they have breached the Constitution by asking for sexual favors. The network has called on all male politicians to ensure that they desist from doing so or risk being decampaigned.
I would like to say that this is a criminal act. The Constitution is very clear. It gives provisions for women to participate in leadership positions. So already the fact that the male politicians from whichever party is doing that have already demonstrated that they can breach the Constitution by asking for sexual favors from women because they have a constitutional right, and it also they are compromising Zambia's commitment to regional and international protocols such as SADC and AU protocols and the CEDAW Convention, which have got specific provisions that empowers women to participate in decision-making positions. So the fact that the women are being asked, for sexual favors from male politicians, I think this is an abuse of their positions, but it's also a violation of women's rights. And I think we are very disappointed with such political parties. And these people are doing that. They should be, exposed so that the law can follow them. It is not right to take advantage of women in that situation.
Still to come in the news, government advised to float Mopani shares on the Lusaka Stock Exchange. Let's take a break. Join me shortly for more.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
To create a positive difference in people's lives, one must first understand the way people live. At Savenda, we're here for our community, our partners, and our future, as a nation and as a continent.
Back in 1997, we decided we were going to create this family journey into a bigger opportunity, and created a business called Savenda, which meant save nations to develop Africa.
It's always important to give back to the people. The government cannot do everything, but as business entities, we'll be able to reach a lot of people.
From our humble beginnings in the telecoms and mining sectors to our work in energy and development projects, we know how important it is to be true to our roots.
Our services have to be diversified so that we don't depend on one income stream. Back in the village, I was growing up hunting and doing everything that a village boy would like to do. When you're hunting, you don't depend on one trap, for example. You have to have many traps. So those survival skills brought into the business it created opportunities that we learned from a young age that you can't survive with just one product. Savenda Group involves Savenda Management, which is a consulting, Savenda Express, which is a corporate branding company, Savenda Electric, which is a manufacturer of energy-saving bulbs, Savenda General Insurance, which is a general insurance company, Savenda Fresh Produce, Cyber Africa, which is a center for just dealing with cyber security.
Now, Savenda is combining local knowledge with international expertise. It's time to be a part of Zambia's rising success and Africa's exciting future.
We are a gateway into Africa, and now we are praying with global companies who are coming to Zambia for opportunities and to look for companies that are homegrown. And we are proud to be one of those.
Have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying on. The leadership movement has bemoaned the government's move to start looking for an equity partner immediately after taking over Mopani copper mines on the pretext that ZCCMIH has the capacity to manage its affairs. Minister of Mines and Minerals Development Richard Musoka disclosed that the process of attracting a strategic equity partner in Mopani copper mines has already commenced but is yet to be finalized, and various multinational companies from the USA, China, Canada and other countries have expressed interest. Leadership Movement National Chairman David Kalumba tells Camnet TV News that delaying this process will be a drawback to the efforts of making sure that the country takes full responsibility of its mines. Mr. Kalumba says the best way to deal with this matter is to offload the shares to the Lusaka Stock Exchange so that local companies and the general citizenry interested can be part of the firm to avoid capital flight. He adds that the quest to source for an equity partner may see the country settling for an exploitative investor.
Not to develop the nation like that. So we are saying, let us run our own mines. This is why when leadership movement comes into power this year, we are saying we are going to get control of all our mines. We are going to run all our mines. We are going to make sure that Zambians participate in the running of the affairs of the mines. So, what we would love to see the government doing is, number one, let them think of listing on Lusaka Stock Exchange so that Zambians who want to participate into the running of Mopani can come forward. We have a lot of experts. This is why we are sending people to school. It's because we want them to learn and understand how these mines can be run. Not only mines, even other industries. You know, we have experts in ZCCM investment holdings who are capable of running Mopani. So the issue of now start talking about finding equity partners, I think it will not help us, because we'll be going back to the same thing again, which we are trying to avoid. So we are saying as leadership movement, if we cannot run our own mines, it's even better to suspend the affairs of these mines and wait for the next generation who might be even better equipped than us to run them. Let's resort back to our agriculture, because maybe it's more easier.
Still on the mines, the Center for Trade Policy and Development has charged that Zambia is in dire need of mineral asset valuation code, which is hoped to prevent overpricing or underpricing of mining assets. CTPD senior researcher Extractives Webby Banda says the trend of undervaluing and overpricing mining assets will continue in perpetuity if the country does not craft its own mineral asset valuation code. Mr. Banda explains that when this is done, the country will have proper guidelines on mining assets valuation. He has cited the acquisition of Mopani copper mines by ZCCMIH as a debatable matter of how much the mines was worth due to lack of valuation codes. The centre is meanwhile calling on government to craft mechanisms that establish the authenticity of the deposited geological information by mining houses, adding that this will translate in estimating the true worth of Zambia's deposits in any future transactions.
The Center for Trade Policy and Development would like to urge government to craft a mineral asset valuation code. The mineral asset valuation code must be applied concomitantly with a mineral reserve reporting code. Having a mineral asset valuation code will avert a situation where our mining assets continue to be underpriced or overpriced in any mining transaction. It is important to note that government does not have to reinvent the wheel in this case. All what government can simply do is to adopt any international code, fine-tune it to the case of Zambia, and pass it into law.
Police in Nakonde have intercepted a Scania truck and trailer loaded with Mukola logs. The truck, bearing registration number T317 CAP and T688 CAH was intercepted at GMC parking area in Ilendela village. Deputy Police Public Relations Officer Danny Mwale says the incident occurred on January 30th, 2021 around 22 hours in Ilendela village of Nakonde district. Mr. Mwale says the truck has since been impounded and the driver, identified as Michael Musa, age 32, a Tanzanian national, has also been identified and is in police custody to assist with investigations.
In Nakonde district intercepted a Scania truck and trailer loaded with Mukula logs. The truck, bearing registration number T317 CAP and T686 CAH, was intercepted at GMC parking area in Ilendela village. The incident occurred on January 13, 2021 around 22 hours in Ilendela village of Nakonde district. The truck has since been impounded and the driver, identified as Michael Musa, aged 32, a Tanzanian, has since been detained in police custody to assist with investigations.
On a sad note, the Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court, Elizabeth Moyovwe, has died. The Honorable Lady Justice Moyovwe, aged 64, passed away this morning at 06:30 hours at Mainasoko Military Hospital in Lusaka. Mourners have since been advised to observe COVID-19 health guidelines, adding that further details on the funeral arrangements shall be communicated in due course. This is contained in a statement issued to the media by the Judiciary of Zambia Public Relations Officer, Kalumba Slaven. You're watching Camnet News. We take a break, and still to come is international and sports news. Stay with us.
Different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, downlights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television. For non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage, Zambia needs Camnet television. For national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia, watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on Go TV, and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
In international news, after an almost 10-month break from classes, the initial joy of going back to school for many students in Ghana has since turned into a nightmare as far-reaching impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic has put over 222 private schools out of business as economic challenges lead many property owners to convert their facilities into residential apartments, hostels and guest houses, leaving over 40,000 students and 3,496 teachers in an academic limbo. This is an added complication to the already complex situation for Ghana's still developing education infrastructure. In other news, South Africa's tourism sector has been hit hard by the restrictive of COVID-19 lockdowns. It is a vital industry for the economy, particularly in Cape Town. Business across the city are struggling to stay open. Here's a roundup for international news.
After an almost 10-month hiatus from classes, the initial joy of going back to school for many students in Ghana has since turned into a nightmare as the far-reaching impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has put around 222 private schools out of business, as economic challenges led many proprietors to convert their facilities into residential apartments, hostels, and guest houses, leaving over 40,000 students and just over 3,000 teachers in academic limbo, an added complication for Ghana's developing educational sector.
I have 4 children. 3 are in school, and for them to even go to school, I have to consult a friend to help me a little bit.
Statistics from the Ghanaian Education Service show that private schools make up 49% of educational establishments and 33% of all enrollments at the pre-tertiary level in the country. However, they often can be inaccessible to low-income households, and the coronavirus health crisis has only made things even more financially challenging.
The only way that some of us in a private school in the community-based areas could survive is to either to double our fees, and over here, if we increase the fees, they'll move all the children. So I decided to end up with the school.
Private schools in Ghana offer intangible benefits beyond academics and are critical for national growth. But perhaps the most concerning element in recent events is that for some communities, these schools are the only educational facilities available and within proximity.
So when they go into distress, then definitely it affects the children because there is nowhere to turn.
Ghanaian authorities will most likely have to respond to these emerging issues in the educational sector, as the minds of the country's budding youth are essential for Ghana's continued progress.
Cape
Cape Town has always been a dream destination for travelers around the world. The list of must-see attractions is endless. December and January are peak periods for tourism in the Cape, but visitor numbers are down by as much as 90%. Strict lockdown regulations include nighttime curfews and a ban on alcohol sales. Beaches are off limits too. Holiday snaps posted to social media nowadays include some interesting visitors: the police, law enforcement and the National Army who patrol the shoreline.
Our economy has gone down, prices have gone up, and people are suffering at the moment. They are having difficulty surviving. Lots of businesses are having to close down if they have not already closed down.
The Damjanov family, originally from Bulgaria, has been struggling to make ends meet. Amy's nail salon has survived lockdown despite reduced client numbers. Husband Daniel's tour company, which he started in 2007, has not.
It was very hard. I used to have 19 of these vehicles, now I have only one. I don't have income from March last year, just before lockdown.
In Long Street, the heartbeat of Cape Town's entertainment scene, there are for sale and to let signs everywhere.
You can see how Long Street is dry, people are getting out the streets, no one can't find job, we taxi drivers, you can spend for a whole day, you can't get maybe one customer, you can't make maybe 100 rand.
On an ordinary day, it would be difficult to find a parking spot here at Camps Bay beachfront, but then Cape Town hasn't had one of those an ordinary day in nearly a year. Businesses on the famed strip are suffering. Ordinarily on that side of the main road, it would be lined with informal traders selling their wares, mainly African arts and crafts, but only a handful of them remain.
No tourists, even the beach, they close the beach. So some days we just come here, just maybe we can get even 20 rand just for survival. It's very difficult here because of lockdown.
So, what's the way forward? How will Cape Town recover? These are questions we put to the local government.
If we look at the industry as a whole, it's really an important sector for Cape Town. It contributes around about $1.2 billion to the city's economy, and it creates around about 300,000 direct and indirect jobs. So for us, our priority is to make sure that we stabilize the tourism landscape by making as much relief available to our tourism and hospitality industry. And that could be, for example, the reclassification of your property, if you've got a tourism business property, back to a residential category, and that could really reduce rates bills. We've also implemented lease remissions for people renting land or buildings from the municipality, so that we can just, give people that financial relief at this point in time.
While many have cut their losses and closed up shop, people like Daniel, Amy, Dylan, Jack, and the estimated 75,000 others whose jobs are at risk in the Western Cape have no choice but to ride out the storm. Robert Adams, Al Jazeera, Cape Town.
That's it for international news. We now go straight into sports news. In sports news, Morocco has booted out Zambia in the quarter-final match of the 2021 CHAN tournament by a 3-1 scoreline. The Chipolopolo were knocked out at the quarter-final stage in 2016 and 2018 under the tutorage of George Luandamina and Wedson Nyerinda, respectively. This is the third time they are being booted out under coach Milton Michi. They have failed to go a step further. Last time Zambia reached the semi-finals was in 2009. Well, that's where we wrap it up for our news this evening. Let's just look at the top stories once again. Indiscriminate medical waste disposal at CHILENJE Old Cemetery, ex-residents. And Peter Chanda describes the implementation of the Public Order Act as fair. A Catholic priest in Eastern Province calls on electorates to open their eyes now. In international news, Ghana's private school sector hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. And in sports news, Morocco boots Zambia out of the CHAN competition. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from Malachi 3 verse 10, and it reads, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessings that there will not be room enough to store it." That's where we wrap it up tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sharon Kalimula. Now remember to always ensure that you observe the COVID-19 health guidelines and stop the spread of the virus. Stay safe. Good night.